everyone. Today, I'm excited to talk about British cultures, a fascinating topic full of traditions, history, and everyday habits that many people find charming. In Unit 10, we focus on some key vocabulary and cultural practices in the UK. Let's dive right in. Today's lesson is divided into three parts. First, in part 1, vocabulary, we will focus on words related to Britain to help expand your understanding of the topic. Next, in part 2, skills development, we will practice the skills of matching headings to paragraphs, an important reading strategies for exams. Finally, in part 3, exam practice, we will apply what we've learned through real exam style exercises. Let's get started with part 1. We'll start with vocabulary related to famous buildings in London, and then move on to everyday customs like tea culture. These examples will help us understand not just the language, but also the way people lived in the UK. Let's begin with some iconic London buildings. Look at exercise 1A, famous building in London. We have to match the names of buildings in London with their descriptions. So, pause the video for a minute to do this exercise. One famous landmark is the Jerkins, a modern skyscraper that looks like a picker. This is a type of vegetable. It's one of London's most unique buildings. Another is the Palace of Westminster, the meeting place of the British Parliament and home to the famous clock tower commonly called Big Ben. City Hall is where the Mayor of London works, and the Old Bailey is London's most famous criminal court. Each of these places plays an important role in the city history and everyday life. In the next activity, we label pictures of these buildings. Being able to recognize these structures not only helps with vocabulary, but also connects you to British history and modern city life. Buildings like the Jerkins and the Palace of Westminster are symbols of London identity. Now, let's move to something very close to British heart, tea. In this exercise, we use the words in the box to complete the text below. In England, it's common to hear put the kettle on, number 1. It means let's make some tea. People often enjoy a simple cup of tea, number 2, at home, sometimes with a biscuit. But if you go to a tea room, number 3, or hotel, it becomes more formal. When you have a cream tea, you'll get tea brewed in a teapot, number 4, served with scones, jams, number 5, and cream. There are even regional customs, number 6. In Devon, people put the cream first and then the jam on the scone. In Cornwall, it's the opposite, butter first, number 7, then cream. Traditional afternoon tea also includes delicate sandwiches, number 8, with filling like cucumber, egg, ham, or smoked salmon, number 9. And of course, in England, most tea is drunk with milk, number 10. Alright, now let's move on to the quick activity. You can see a list of words here. The job is to put each word into the right category: food, drink, or activity. You might know some of them already, but if you are not sure, you can use a dictionary. Take your time and think carefully. Some words might sound tricky, but just focus on the meaning. Let's see how many you can get right. Now, let's complete the table by sorting these words into three categories: food, drink, and activity. Some examples of food are Cornish pasty, scones, haggis, rabbit, and leek. Drinks include bitter and scotch. Activities are hopscotch, duck goose, and British bulldog. Remember, you can use a dictionary if you are not sure about any of the meanings. Take a moment to think carefully, because some words might sound confusing. Let's get started by writing each word into the correct columns on the table. Let's link 2 items to Scotland, 2 to Wales, and 2 to England. Think about which foods, drinks, or activities are famous in each place. Use what you know or guess from the names. Take your time and write them into the correct columns. And here are the answers. Let's look at the map and identify each area listed. For England, the largest country in the south is Scotland is above England in the north. To the west of England is Wales, a smaller country. Across the Irish Sea, Northern Ireland is located in the northeast part of the island of Ireland. The rest of that island is a Republic of Ireland, often simply called Ireland. Great Britain includes England, Scotland, and Wales together. Finally, the UK is made of the Great Britain plus Northern Ireland. In conclusion, British culture is a blend of historical traditions and modern life. By learning about iconic places and everyday customs like tea drinking, we get a better sense of how language reflects culture. Now, it's time to move to the second part, skill development. So, one key reading skill is matching headings to the correct sections of a text. These techniques help us find the main ideas of a paragraph and choose the best title for it. A skill that's not only useful for exams, but also for everyday reading. And here is the exercise in this lesson. So, to help you find the answer to this type of reading questions, we will go through some tips and strategies. Now, let's go over the steps to develop your reading skills. This will help you match headings much faster and more accurately. Start by underlining the keywords in the headings. Also, circle the signal words like causes, effects, problems, or advantages to understand the focus of the paragraph. Next, do some skimming. Read the first 2 sentences and the last sentence of each paragraph. Look out for signals like years, months, days, or repeated ideas. These can give you a quick idea of paragraph's topic. Then, read the whole paragraph carefully to get the general meaning. Don't get stuck on difficult words. Focus on the overall idea. Finally, eliminate headings that clearly don't match and choose the best answer based on what you understood. Follow these steps and you'll find matching headings much easier and faster. And remember, we are matching ideas, not just vocabulary. A few helpful tips. Now, let's go through some important tips for matching headings. The first, be careful. The first or last sentence of a paragraph might not always be the topic sentence. Sometimes, the main idea is hidden somewhere in the middle, so make sure you read carefully. Second, read all the headings first before you read the passage. Try to remember the meanings of each heading. This way, when you start reading the passage, you can quickly recognize which heading matches, and it will save you a lot of time. Finally, do the matching at the end. After you have read and understood the passage, don't rush into matching right away. Following these steps will help you avoid common mistakes and choose the correct heading more confidently. In exercise 1E, page 70, we focus on writing better conclusions. A good conclusion should summarize the main points without adding new information. Let's look at some examples. Point D is wrong because it introduces new information, something we should avoid. And what about A? It is essential. Conclusion must pick up the main point. And point B helps because it refers back to earlier ideas, tying the text together. Point C and E are strong because they connect the topic to real-life consequences, making it more relevant and powerful. Finally, exercise 2, page 71, lets you practice matching headings and writing conclusions yourself. It's a chance to apply everything we discussed and become a more confident reader. Let's take a closer look at the list of the titles, and we focus on some key information in each paragraph to choose the best title. To do the first paragraph, it emphasizes the castle and the contrast between its beauty and its incompletions due to money shortage. Regarding paragraph 2, it focuses on the functions of the castle like royal castle, army base, or visitor attractions. Now that we've explored vocabulary and developed our reading skills, it's time for the final part of Unit 10, exam practice. We'll put everything we've learned into actions by practicing real exam-style reading questions. In exercise 1 on the page 72, we practice one of the most common tasks in reading exam, matching headings to paragraphs. The exercise focuses on understanding the main ideas and finding the best heading that matches each paragraph message. Firstly, we have to underline the keywords which help us save time to match the information in the reading text. Let's take a look in more details in each questions. 2 is the disappearance of classic playground games. We match it with sections A. Here, the paragraph will likely talk about how traditional children games are not played as often today, and might explore the reasons why these old favorites are fading away. Next, we have a closer look at some traditional games, which we will match with section B. The paragraph describes specific examples of games that were popular in the past. British, bulldog, how they were played, and why they were important to the British. C matches with the heading 3, possible explanations for the bans. This paragraph could likely focus on why some traditional playground games were banned. For example, concerns about the injuries like broken arms or leg while playing these games. Now, the best traditional games in Britain, heading 5, will be matched with section D. This paragraph highlights particular games and explains why they are considered the most loved and culturally important in Britain. Section E will be fit with heading 1, the disappearance of traditional playground sport, which is similar to the earlier one about games, but focuses more on sport rather than games. And we should focus on the synonyms of the words rare in the text and the word's disappearance in the questions. This distinction is important when choosing the right headings, as the details matter. Finally, no real support for the bans. Heading 7, Fifth Section F. In this case, the paragraph argued that banning these games and sport wasn't really necessary, like, I don't think it's wrong to questions, and that many people may disagree with those decisions. Completing the matching exercise, it's important to review and reflect. In pairs, you will sum up the steps and tips for matching headings that we have learned earlier. Focus on the main idea. Don't be fooled by similar words. Always read carefully for meaning, not just matching vocabulary. Then you can do further exercises to build even more confidence for your exams. In conclusion, practicing real exam tasks helps us apply everything we've learned, from understanding cultural topics to mastering reading strategies. With careful practice, we can approach the exam with confidence and skill. Thank you.